Hey everyone, welcome back to another chat at my place. Basically, you're in my record room. Well, we also call it the lounge here, down this part because it's my lounge room here. Um, but I'm just in the mood for another chat here. Revolutions, as they call it as well. Well, they being me, obviously. Um, and just trying to be relaxed about it, just showing you some nice records. You can react if you love them or hate them or don't know them. Just write some comments. The only reason we do these videos is really for the interaction with other people, other members of the public. And I try to always respond the best I can. So hopefully we have a good dialogue going. Some classical music to start with. Um, I might do a spotlight at one point on the wonderful World Record Club label. This is World Record Club. I'll show you closer, which was based in Melbourne and Sydney and Brisbane and everywhere else. But we have a branch here in Melbourne. And they released a lot of really excellent classical recordings, but with different. They've put their own sleeves on there. This is Rachmaninoff and Saint-Saëns. Two piano concertos, both of them magnificent. I mean, I'm a fan of Rachmaninoff. I love his jarring kind of wild piano style. He was just, he's so aggressive on the piano sometimes. It's brilliant. I love these records. Camille Saint-Saëns, obviously great French composer, organist, pianist. Um, Underrated, methinks. Underrated. Another World Record Club that I spun. There's another example of it. Is the great Yehudi Menuhin, the Wizard of Violin, um, conducted by Rudolf Kempe and the Berlin Philharmonic. This is Brahms. Brahms is one of my favorite composers. This violin concerto is absolutely exquisite. It's exquisite. It's really to die for. It's a beautiful piece of music. It's very rousing, very evocative, very just has a lot of colors. And I love the sleeve there on this. It's fabulous. This is what the violin concerto. It's just called the violin concerto by Brahms. Um, Here is a nice little piece, chamber music. I love chamber music. Obviously, it's lovely on a Sunday morning. This is Bach and Vivaldi on played on harmonium. Sorry, harpsichord, oboe, and cello. I mean, if you like, I just love that combination of instruments. Personally, I think they are a match made in heaven. I just love the sounds because it's very baroque sounding. It's very there's a texture to the harpsichord that you don't get anywhere else. This is a Swiss trio. I bought this not so long ago, probably like a bit over a month ago, at a record fair. It was kind of a blind buy, but it's a lovely record. Um, it's Ingo Gorutsky, Jörg Ewald Dehler, and Johannes Gorutsky, who play a couple of sonatas by Bach and Vivaldi. And another Bach, but this time this is some solo piano. This is a Brazilian virtuoso, João Carlos Martins. And it's Preludes and Fugues 18 to 24. This is the third volume of a trilogy of well-tempered clavier, which is like some of Bach's most famous kind of piano arrangements. Um, Very sort of light and airy, and just you feel like you're escaping to another world when you listen to this music. This morning, these are all in whichever order. this morning I revisited Tender Moments by McCoy Tyner. This is an absolute beautiful record, which is the Tone Poet repress, which I'm spinning again because a friend of mine just texted me about this record, and I thought, oh, I need to play it again. It's a lovely, lovely record, Tender Moments, with a big band, Lee Morgan, Julian Priester on trombone, James Spaulding on sax and flute, Benny Maupin on tenor sax. You've got McCoy Tyner on piano, obviously, Joe Chambers on drums, plus a couple more players. The rhythms overall on this are fairly varied. It's a very engaging listen. There's not a dull moment on this. I love this record. If you can pick it up cheap. I also revisited this jazz record here, which I bought a while back during lockdown, I think. Septets by the John Carroll Kirby. He's a US, I think he's a keyboards player. And we have here an instrumental funky jazz record, which leans towards the future jazz kind of end of things, but very, very, again, very engaging, very rhythmic, just a chilled out as well kind of record, which came out in 2021, I want to say, or something like that, on Stone's Throw, which is the label run by Egon, and really great label. Let me talk about a few more jazz records. Like a couple of days ago, I felt like in the mood of revisiting this masterpiece by Philip Coran and the Artistic Heritage Ensemble. Philip Coran, one of the mainstays of Chicago's great AACM, a forward thinker if there ever was one. The music is, you would say, spiritual jazz without question. I know people say that this term is thrown so often, in the community, that people talk about spiritual jazz like it's, but there is such a thing as spiritual jazz. It's undeniable, and that is an example of it. I love the francophone, the thumb pianos that he uses there, the violin, uke, just beautiful little ethnic instruments, tenor sax, flute. It's a big band, On the Beach, there's a song called On the Beach there, which I think is the masterpiece of this record. Lovely vocals, very sweet vocals. Gonna get myself away from here, or something. That's what she sings, but it's beautiful. Now here is a classic Aussie jazz, modern, again, spiritual jazz, modal jazz, Menagerie, They Shall Inherit. Lance Ferguson, who is one of the mainstays of the Melbourne jazz scene. He's a guitar player. He's in the Bamboos, a band called the Bamboos, and that was one of his first records under the name Menagerie. And he's got Roy Ayers on vibraphone on Leroy and the Lion, which is the first song on side B. This is really a deep spiritual kind of journey. I mean, the cover says everything. This came out in 2012, yeah. And inside is a bonus 7-inch, there's the CD. It's a great package, actually. And I'm glad I bought it at the time, because I think this is going to go on to be one of these kind of like founding pieces of, Melbourne jazz, later on. I'm just, because I'm not buying records. Really, I'm taking records from my shelves. This is a record that I bought in the very early days of the VC. Don't like to use those terms here; they're kind of offensive. But I know some people will unsubscribe from this because they think the VC is a sacrosanct kind of institution that nobody can talk smack about it. But hey, look, if you want to unsubscribe, here's the door. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I shouldn't antagonize people for no reason, because you know, people have got, you know, people feel very strongly about certain topics, and you know, like, you know, it's, you know, I tend to agree with Ricky Gervais though, and when he says that it's not because you're offended that you're right. But I'll carry on. This is a wonderful, under the radar Brian Eno record. Drums Between the Bell. I remember buying this like in 2012 or 13, or I think it's from 2013. It's a double album with some ambient abstracts, techno at time infused music by Brian Eno. I think that's Carl Hyde play on this. For some reason I had this idea that Carl Hyde was on this too, and I can't remember now. Maybe not. Maybe I'm delirious. See, I'm going to leave this in a video because I'm delirious. And Rick Holland does spoken word. Now there's a version of this without the spoken word, and people say it's better, blah blah blah. I don't care. It's a nice record. Here is a fantastic Japanese jazz record, Ryo Fukui, the late great pianist, Japanese pianist, and this is Mellow Dream on the re-release jazz reissue. That was reissued in 2018 but came out in 1977. It's a wonderful modal jazz piano trio. It's beautiful stuff. Really, it's serene. It's it leads to contemplation. I mean, people always say that Scenery is the record to go to. I disagree. This Mellow Dream, I think, is a better record than Scenery, but again, you have the right to disagree. I've been playing Gastro Del Sol a lot recently. I don't know why. I've had a sort of epiphany revisiting this record. This is Camoufleur by Gastro Del Sol. Here, I'll see if that picks it up on the camera. I don't know. There we go. It's a post-rock record with a little bit of American primitive guitar on it. Some kind of slowcore, a little bit of emo-core, slint-like kind of vocals. Amazing records, amazing. No home should be without a Camoufleur Gastro Del Sol. Is a masterpiece of Gigi Massin, Wind. Been listening to a lot of Gigi Massin recently, especially with the Greg Foyt and Gigi Massin, but this album is just another level. The first track, Call Me. Stop this video and listen to the first track, Call Me, by Gigi Massin. This is a reissue of this album, and it's been since reissued again. Like, this is like, I think that was the first reissue of it, and then recently it was put out again. The best out of the moon records, 2015. This is a 2015 reissue. It's a stunning record. It's an ambient, lovely, delicate ambient record with vocals from Italy, 1986. You'll laugh maybe or not. I love this record. This is The Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears. And it's interesting because this is a psychedelic pop record from 1990, I think. 1989, just at the very tail end of the 80s. And it's just a perfect record, really. It's so well thought out. The songs are crafted to the max. They've got a super team of players on it. Pino Palladino on bass. They've got Manu Katché on drums. You've even got some members of the Average White Band. They're playing. So this is Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith, obviously, Tears for Fears. And on this, the title track, well, kind of the title track, Sowing the Seeds of Love. I mean, I'm gonna make a statement here. It's the paranoid android of synth pop. Like, that song has got so many parts glued together. It's amazing, and lyrically it's amazing. It's about Thatcher's Britain, and how, she just basically destroyed their dreams and all that. But it's just so clever. The content, the concepts, just for the song, Sowing the Seeds of Love. Tears of Fears. Yes, you've heard it here first. I pulled out this wonderful. It's completely different stuff. I pulled out this wonderful French East meets West record, Cleavage. André Fertier. Oh, this is a killer record. You've got it's effectively a jazz record, but just played with like Eastern instruments and jazz instruments. So you've got André Fertier is on guitar and keyboards, and you've got sax and double bass, but you've got a Santor on this violin, percussions and tabla, and so you have a mix of really dynamic kind of mix of the East meets West. Play Cleavage on YouTube and just have it. This is from the 1970s, I think. My copy. This is an original copy on Gratte-Ciel. What does it say? I don't know. You can look it up. I don't know, but my copy is, as you can see, has seen better days. Couple of reggae Latin records ish. The killer Flesh of Masculine Blood by Keith Hudson. A killer dub reggae, roots reggae kind of. Yeah, the title track alone is worth the price of admission here. From 1974, just a killer essential roots reggae dub record. And another one that I've been playing is this. This is a superb record too. Ajaman on Island Records, and it's called Allié High Hymn, Chapter 1. Again, like, I would say one of the most classic roots reggae records ever. Maybe not so well known, not in the same league of, like, I don't know, not a household name as Bob Marley or Max Romeo or whatever, but this is just it's an absolute must-have record with a killer like you've got a very, very large band there. I can show you, and people doing all sorts of tricks with their instruments. Okay, here is a record that I should play more. I love this record. I'm a fan. The Hayu Percussion Group, the Harlem Youth Percussion Group, a Latin jazz group from New York, which they released this record in 1972, I think. No, sorry, 1969. I apologize. Just funky and groovy Latin jazz workout extraordinaire. If you know this record, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, check it out. It's fucking brilliant. And I'm gonna finish with Ramble Records. I was talking about Ramble Records 2 videos ago. I was talking about Manish Pingo and all sorts of other delights. And I was saying I met Mike Sill, the guy who runs the label Ramble Records. So this is Ramble Records. This is their logo here, just to remind you a little bit of what I'm talking about. They're a Melbourne label, and this record, the band is called The Man from Atlantis, and it's called Blues for Archie Shepp. As you can see, it's a lovely, lovely sleeve. And this record from 2022 is kind of a psych rock meets spiritual jazz record. It's very hard to classify, but at heart it's more like a psych record. And Michael Still, the guy who runs Ramble Record, that's him. He's the Man from Atlantis. That's his act, his band. So he's self-released. So I bought the record directly from him, actually. Super nice guy. And this was a blind buy. He said, "Oh, this is my record," and I thought, it's fucking cool. Wouldn't you not buy this? I mean, it's, But on top of looking cool, it's a really, really, really nice record. Michael, if you're ever watching this is a lovely piece of music. Man from Atlantis, very kind of, the bridge between psych, a little bit of funk, and some spiritual jazz mixed in. And I'll finish with another record from Ramble Records. This is really killer. He's an American Afghani musician. His name is, he goes by the name of, if you'll see it's at the top there, I'll read for you. Nojawan Bedar. That's it there at the top there. And what he does is very politically engaged against Taliban and against the imperialism and against all sorts of, and I agree, Taliban is a really bad thing. That's an understatement. But his thing is very lo-fi. It's Eastern music, but with an indie sensibility. It's very sort of so lo-fi at times. It's recorded like a very, very, like cassettes, like very, very super lo-fi. But once you get into the idea that it's lo-fi, then it sounds really great. So I love this. This is fantastic. This is also Ramble Records. So that's it. I'll stop here. Hope you enjoyed this installment, and you can talk to me. Okay. Love you all.